Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the Jim Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series. How are all of you? I see your smiley faces, and everybody's looking pretty snazzy today. Some of you are dressed to the nines. Some of you are casual. Some of you are biz casual. And some of you, I don't know if you have pants on or not. And you don't know if I do or not, because you only see from here up. Sometimes the sportscasters on newscasts, I know from my years in working in television and news and weather and sports and everything else as well, sometimes they wear shorts underneath the desk with sneakers and what have you. So you don't know unless they do a wide shot accidentally and the camera catches the side of the set. So however you're attired, whatever your zip code is, whatever your income, religious views, political views, gender, height, weight, eye color, none of it matters. What matters is you're here with us. Welcome to the Jim Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series. We've been doing the show for a long time now, well over 400 and counting episodes, and all of them are unique and special and cool because you're here with us. If you're watching live, thank you very much. If you're watching this later on in the archives, thank you very much. Drop a comment on our YouTube channel underneath this episode. We would love that. And if you haven't, boy, would we love it if you subscribe to the YouTube channel you're watching right now, which is Jim Masters TV. Number one, that really helps our show big time. YouTube loves that, and they monitor that. So definitely click subscribe. When you see that red button that says subscribe, click on it. There's no cost. Some people, I had a friend of mine in New York who I've known for years and years. And he said, Jim, when you subscribe, is there a cost? How does it work? Is it like subscribing to a magazine or a cable channel or something? He said, no, you just click subscribe and that's it. There's no billing. It's just the way it works. It's just the word they used. I don't know why they use that word subscribe, but you see the red button, it says subscribe in the upper right-hand corner of our channel. Click it. We would love that. And that would also, we see who are the folks that are subscribed to our channel, and we appreciate that. So if you have subscribed, thank you. Give the episode, all the episodes you've enjoyed on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV and the Jim Masters Show Live, click thumbs up. That is very important. And leave a comment. A lot of you have been doing that. Christine Clifton, Mary Bishop, Juanita's been doing it. Amy's been doing it. Jane's been doing it. You guys are great, the ones that have been doing that. And a lot of random people who have been watching have been dropping comments on our YouTube channel. So that's some of the house cleaning there, just to let you know about our YouTube channel. We hope you guys are doing well. It is Thursday at the time of this broadcast. Very busy day. I was on the air all day today. And cool stuff. And I had a full physical today and passed with flying A++ colors, which was awesome. And then we had a walk. We just got in from a fantastic walk. It's about 73 degrees, sunny, low humidity, and a beautiful coastal breeze coming off the coast here. We're in the greater New York area, in the southern New England coast between New York and Boston, and it's absolutely perfect. I wish I could deliver this weather to our friends, relatives, family, colleagues, friends, viewers on the West Coast, where it's, some areas are 110, 115 degrees and humid. Good to have you with us. Welcome. We do this show in style, if you haven't noticed that before in previous episodes. That tastes good. It looks like an expensive martini. It's nothing more than fresh, ice-cold water, which tastes good after doing several laps walking along the coast. We toast you, and we welcome you to the show. Haven't eaten dinner yet. I've got chicken waiting and some soup and broccoli. We're eating healthy. Hope you guys are doing well. Lots of comments coming in here. We welcome everybody. And we say congratulations to Mary Bishop, who's, I think, is a granddaughter, is graduating from school, and that's really cool. And she's one of our regular lovely viewers. Welcome, of course, to the Jim Masters Show. It's great to have you here. Hello to all the loveties. Loveties are those who watch all the time. They share, they tag, they celebrate, they comment during the show. Tell your friends about the show. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. We would absolutely love that, and that would be fantastic. And yeah, that's about it. Share the channel as well. Let folks drive traffic to the channel. We're getting closer to some milestone numbers, and thank you to all of you who've been sharing this with your friends. What a great guest last night, huh? Rosalind Kind. She wrote to me right after the show. She absolutely loved the conversation. And some of you have been posting some beautiful words about all the episodes of our series. And I really appreciate that. Maureen is there. She says, hello, everyone from blazing hot Arizona. 122 when you left work today. Wow. Play that in the lottery, 122. It might be lucky. Surprised your tires didn't melt away on the freeway. I don't think I would do my Death Valley driving alone a bit this year. Not with what's going on on the West Coast now. Boy, drive through Death Valley alone. You may never return now with that weather. Jane's watching in Sweden. Good to see you, Jane. And Merlin in Ontario, Canada. And Sherry Larson is here. We welcome you, Sherry Larson. We've got our central air conditioning going in here, and it feels so good. Everybody saying hello to everybody. Screen Queen Army, we love when he's here. This is Chris, who's watching in Northern Ireland. Good to see you as well. I'm good. I'm glad that you're doing well, and you are you're getting better. Chronic pain. Hopefully, you'll be better soon, my friend. We're sending you lots of lovity from the Jim Master Show live in Sweden. 29 degrees Celsius. Warmer tomorrow, Friday as well. And Ann and Wozniak is watching in Florida and Jacksonville area. Hello, Jim and lovely friends. Good to see you as well. And cheers. And yeah, 73 degrees, sunny, no humidity, very low humidity, and a light coastal breeze. I told you in our Facebook group, JMS Live Lovity Hall, you should fly east. Cheers. Yeah, you should fly east and cool off. All right, gang, we've got an amazing guest. Speaking of hot places, but not humid, Palm Springs, California. Of course, you know, we have a lot of friends. My cousins actually live. My cousin Kathy and her husband and family, they live in Palm Springs, California. Lucy Ornez, our dear friend as well, you know, and so many others. We are excited to welcome Jeffrey Mark. He's amazing. Emmy-winning, Grammy-nominated author and comedian, comedy writer, actor. He does it all. And we're very excited to have him here on the show. He's a great guy. He's been following my work for years, and I've followed him for years as well. This is one of the most coveted of the books. He's written several, and we're going to talk about that in just a second. But he's amazing. Emmy winner, best-selling author Jeffrey Mark, releasing the new book about the legendary Ella Fitzgerald with full support of the Fitzgerald estate. That's always a good thing. And the foundation hitting stores already. And it did in February, just in time for Black History Month and Women's History Month, which I think was perfect timing. Developed with material from the archives of her estate, the Centennial Birthday Edition, illustrated with 275 photos of Ella. This is the second in 2 books he's written. He's also written a book about Lucille Ball, and he's got another one he's working on. He wrote the Family Affair Cookbook. Yes, you know, we had Kathy Garver on. She talked about that. He was involved in that project. And just incredible. In addition to the regular book, a deluxe edition with an exclusive 2D CD set with proceeds benefiting the Ella Fitzgerald Charitable Foundation is also a cool thing that he's involved in. Best-selling author, Emmy winner, and Grammy nominee Jeffrey Mark has really put together the ultimate Ella biography. We're going to talk about that and about his life and his background and so many wonderful things that he's doing. He's a great guy. He's a funny guy. He's a good-hearted guy. And guess what? He's our guest right now live from Palm Springs, California. Why don't you join me in welcoming Jeffrey Mark to the show? Jeffrey, welcome to the show. Boom. There you magically are.
What a great sounding guest. I can't wait to hear what he has to say.
He's running a little late. Do you think you can text him? Are you filling in for him? Are you his cousin?
Well, I'm his doppelganger. So
you're Marty.
I'll speak on part of. Sure, Jeff. 2 minutes in and I've done it already. My apologies, everybody. I didn't mean to say that. I will speak for myself. Good to be with you, my friend.
Jeffrey Mark is here filling in for Jeffrey Mark. The Freudian slip, which is not easy to say that either, is your Freudian slip, which will go down in history on the Jim Master Show Live. Mine, fortunately, a little softer. It was the word lovity. When I said light, love, and lovity too fast, lovity, and then everybody fell in love with the word lovity, and that's where the whole lovity thing comes from. The viewers call themselves the Lovity Squad. They call me Mr. Lovity. This is Lovity Hole. They're going to welcome you as a lovity because I said light, love, and levity too fast. And I said light, love, and levity too fast. And
it's a great word, and I'm happy to be one of the levities. And I'm reading here all the wonderful people welcoming me, and I'm grateful for that. It's a funny thing. I always work clean. I always have. And I was hosting
zestfully clean.
Yes, all right. I was hosting I was hosting the Palm Springs first International Comedy Festival. And part of the festival, I brought in some friends to do a comedy about women who act funny. I mean, they act in funny parts. And I had on Ruta Lee and my dear late friend.
She was just here, Ruta. Last week, she was here live from Mexico.
I know. Dawn Wells and Allison Arngrim and
Allison.
And I had just mentioned that I don't work blue. And Ruta Lee, and I can't repeat what she said. Oh, for blank sakes, Jeffrey, you're over 40. Why don't you use blank on the stage right now?
So and you loved every second of that when she said it, didn't you?
We got a huge laugh out of that. And then that evening, I was the opening act for much better known comedians. And I told that story, and that got a huge laugh. And then I reminded people what Jack Benny did.
Yeah.
That when he began working Las Vegas in the 60s, they told him, you're competing with people like Buddy Hackett. You have to be more adult. So Benny came out on stage this first night in playing Vegas. They tell me I have to work blue. So I'm going to use my first adult word on a stage.
Now, for those that aren't familiar with what that terminology is, working blue means that? Is that
you stepped on my laugh, baby? You shouldn't do that.
That was a buildup, huh?
that was not the punchline. I hadn't gotten there yet. You got to give me room.
It's coming soon.
It's almost not worth it now. But he looked at the audience. The what you stepped on was the pause that makes it funny. And he looked at the audience and goes, "Affair. That's my word." He said the word affair because that was his dirty word. It would have been much funnier had it gone all the way through, but that's okay.
Well, anyway, you're still getting lots of levity here from Northern Ireland. Chris says, welcome to Levity Hall, Sir Jeffrey.
Much appreciated. Much appreciated.
Like Elton John in the UK and Ireland, you're now a Sir.
It's a funny thing. There are a lot of my fans who call me Sir Jeffrey. I don't know where it started, but I'm very pleased with it.
Absolutely. And even though, I'm beyond the age, I'm still Master James Masters. Just Jane's watching in Sweden, Jeffrey, and she says, Jeffrey, you're a levity now. That didn't take long. So Emmys, Grammys, Emmys, Tonys, Peabodys, Tellys, Oscars, all the things one can get. But when you get a levity on the Jim Masters Show live, I would imagine
all you levities.
Yes, keep that up there because we will toast you. Let's toast. Cheers, cheers, cheers. Mazel tov, sláinte, and all the rest.
Skål.
What do you have? It's just some nice tea. It's a nice cup.
Hot coffee.
Oh, hot coffee. Yeah.
Always in a China cup.
It's 110 degrees there in Palm Springs, but the humidity, like you say, is 12%. Not bad, huh?
It's a lovely thing out here. If you've got good air conditioning where you live, you really don't notice it. You go from your house to the car to the restaurant to the car. And yeah, this is not the weather to be getting on your roller skates or going for a long bicycle ride outdoors. But
we were going to do that. That's the entrance you and I had planned. We were going to have you come in on a skateboard, but it's just too risky. You could slip off, and we don't want to have anything like that happen on our show. It's all levity and positivity. So,
well, I was a dancer when I was young, when I first got started. So I've got great legs, but because they're the last things to go.
You're still young. You're still young. What are you talking about? You mean younger? Younger.
Well, we're going to be honest here. My first paid job in show business was in 1974. So
what was it for? What was it?
Oh, gosh. Well, there's a story behind it.
Yeah, let's hear it.
I always wanted to be in show business. I knew from the time I was 2 years old, I was going to be in show business. And I did amateur things, and I got a lot of attention. I got talent scouted. My parents wouldn't allow it. But in high school, I met the love of my life. the very first day of high school. I was 13.
Where'd
and
you
I met
grow
my
up?
soulmate. Well, I was born in Brooklyn, New York.
Brooklyn, New York. That's right.
But by this point, I was living in a suburb of Baltimore called Randallstown. And that's where I went to high school, Randallstown High School. Hi, Randallstown. Anybody watching?
Yeah, we have Baltimore fans. Yeah.
And there was a boy 4 years older than I named Joel Kavik, who was in my very first musical theater class. They actually offered that in a high school. And that was it. Day one, we met, and that was it for me. So Joel helped get me started. And the job was, I speak a little Swedish, Jane.
You
Not
noticed
enough
that,
to
yeah.
embarrass myself, but enough to be polite to you.
She picked that up right away. Yeah.
Why? That's why I said it for her.
Yeah.
So another person in my life, a woman who's become my sister, Phyllis Viana, took me to an audition because things at my house weren't so good. My childhood was not very stable.
Tough stuff, yeah.
And she dragged me 45 or 50 miles to an audition for a dinner theater, the Colony 7 Dinner Theater, just outside of Washington, D.C. And they had me sing a ballad. A voice came out of me I didn't even know I had. I got hired. They had no idea how old I was. I was 15 playing Mayor Dogmeat in Little Abner. And it had a ball. So my first dinner theater was at 15. My first movie was at 16. My first off-Broadway show was at 17. I was working at the Playboy Club by the time I was 18. And since then, it's been acting, singing, dancing, comedy, writing scripts, producing television.
That's right.
Writing books, and being with wonderful people like you, Jim, and all of you lovely people who are talking to us here.
Appreciate that very much. Man of many talents, wearing many hats for sure. And
really,
what comes to you first? What do you say that you are first of that long list of abilities? Are you the writer first, the actor, the singer, the performer, the comedian? What would you say that you are first in your heart?
In my heart, that was the word I needed. In my heart, I'm a singer.
Yeah.
But I'm better known for being a writer and a producer and a show business historian. But I did stand up and still do it for many, 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 many years. I always did stand up. Even when I was doing jazz, part of my act was stand up. I love performing in front of an audience. I just adore it. It just fills my heart with joy.
What were some of those early opportunities to be able to dive into the world of stand-up? Did you write comedy for other comedians and comedians?
No, I wrote for me.
All for you.
I started doing stand-up in New York City, 1976. And played the little clubs there were a lot of them back then.
Who were some of your influences? Who were some of the folks that you admired, that you aspired to during that time? Steve Allen, yeah.
Who became a dear friend of mine. Jack Benny, certainly the best. Yeah. George Burns, Joan Rivers, Lily Tomlin. I liked storytellers.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell jokes. I write them. I can tell them. I'm much better at telling stories that have a punchline to them than just set up jokes.
Yeah.
So when I do stand up, Danny Thomas was a big influence because Danny was a storyteller. And that's how I crafted it. I found it was almost a natural talent for me that when I told stories, people laughed.
Yeah.
And even that Jack Benny story I just told you that fell flat here in front of a live audience got a huge laugh. And I just, even talking about how I came to have these sparkly hats on my head, telling that story gets a huge laugh.
Do you have a George Burns story?
There's no funny story about George Burns. He was just a master at what he did, not only in,
he agrees with everything you're saying, with his cigar and all.
George Burns was a comedy genius, not just in being a master monologist.
Oh, absolutely.
But we had many, many, many friends in common.
Yeah.
And 201, they've all told me, when you were at a party, when you were in a room, when you were at a dinner, George Burns was the funniest person there. When he was on stage, he made it so that Gracie got all the laughs.
Yes.
But he's the one who supervised the building of the character. When they first got started.
I like Desi and Lucy.
Well, they're different though. Okay. Gracie was an actor who played one character all of her life. She played this character that George developed for her, the Dizzy Day.
Right.
Lucille Ball had made 70-something films and dozens, if not hundreds, of radio shows before I Love Lucy.
Before that character was created, right?
So Lucille Ball was not a monologist. Lucille Ball did not become famous in vaudeville. Lucille Ball was an actor, a wonderful actor, because it takes a genius actor
to
play the Lucy character and make it believable. Because all the women who did knockoffs in the 1950s, I Married Joan, My Little Margie, even our Miss Brooks, they were talented women, but they couldn't pull it off. It took a genius like Lucille Ball to make you believe, hello, dear, to make you believe in that show. And it was what was called getting rid of your disbelief. You believe that if she puts too much yeast into a loaf of bread, it will come out of the oven 6 feet longer than the oven is deep. And we believed it at home.
We believed it to be.
She believed it.
Because she believed it.
And she taught Vivian and Desi and Bill Frawley to believe it that way. And that was the attitude of the show. Everything they did, the actors believed could happen.
This book here, which we're showing on the screen, is one of many. Tell us about this particular book, the Lucy book.
I had been a fan like everybody else and did some of my own research. I got to interview Miss Ball in 1984. And without kissing myself too much, told me that I asked her the best questions anyone had ever asked her about her comedy. And that was the beginning of the book. There were so many biographies coming out about her and Mr. Arnaz.
Yes.
That went into their purported sex lives, their purported personal lives, and one after another. And I have friends who wrote some of these, so I'm not putting anybody down. But I don't think any of them were 100% true. They give us information I can't understand why anyone would want to know. And they missed the point. We don't remember Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz in the 21st century just after a plague because of what they did in their personal lives. We remember them, we honor them, we love them for their work.
Yeah.
And I wanted to write a book about the work.
Right.
So the book was formatted in such a way that I only discussed her personal life when it affected a performance. Steve Allen wrote the original foreword. Lucy Arnaz and Desi Jr. cooperated with the book, much to my pleasure, authorized by the estate.
Yeah.
And the book did enormously well. And then the publisher went out of business. And through the years, people have been begging me, would you please republish the book? I said, well, I don't really have a interest in just republishing something. So I'm happy to announce, if people haven't already heard that in the fall of 2022, the new Lucy book is coming out.
Congratulations.
It will include what's already in the book, except that it will be upgraded, updated with new interviews with Carol Burnett and Anne Margaret and Rich Little and a whole bunch of folks. And I'm also including all the radio shows, all the films, all the stage shows. It'll have hundreds of pictures in it. The cover will be done by a wonderful, wonderful artist named Henry Lamar. He's
coming on in a couple of weeks.
You'll love him.
He's amazing.
He is an amazing, bright young talent.
Yeah.
So he's doing the cover and doing 5 or 6 illustrations inside the book. Fran Drescher has written a new foreword for it. So it'll be a whole new book. It's not the same book being republished. It is a whole separate, new, different book. And I think the Lucy fans are just going to love it.
The Lucy book, the initial one, what was the reaction when it first came out? Fans fell in love with that one as well?
I am told It's like I sound like I'm patting myself on the back too much. People tell me it's their Lucy Bible. There are people, bless you, people out there who tell me they keep the book by their nightstand so they can look at it every time they watch I Love Lucy.
Yeah.
I'm told people have they've slept with it under their pillow. I cannot tell you how honored I am, Lucy fans and TV history fans out there, at
One
the
of them,
honor you've given me and the honor you've given to Miss Ball and Mr. Arnez in loving the book so much. And I hope that you'll love the new one even more because it has twice as much information and things you didn't know. I promise, things you didn't know.
Cool stuff. The original, they can still find that on Amazon and various places, right?
They can, but why don't you save your pennies and buy the new one? Because it's coming out next fall. I'll also be touring next fall all over the East Coast, doing my salute to Ella Fitzgerald. I have an album coming out around the same time. Jeffrey Mark sings the Ella Fitzgerald songbook. So there'll be enough Jeffrey Mark to go around for everybody.
Tell us about the admiration, respect that you have with, obviously you admire Ella. What is it about Ella Fitzgerald, her story, her talent that attracted you to want to really eloquently, accurately, not only celebrate her, but tell her story in the way that you've been able to capture in the first book, but then of course the recent one that we're talking about as well. I believe this is the first one, right?
That's the first one.
And then of course this is the second one. First, tell us about the inspiration for the first one.
Very similar to Lucy. There had been nothing written about Ella substantively. Merlin Freiberg is asking, was it true Lucy actually hated comedy? No, that's not true.
I never heard that
loved
before.
doing comedy, and she loved playing the Lucy character. She didn't care that she was typecast. She loved that character.
She loved it, right?
Please know that Miss Ball had a ball doing what she did. Back to Ella. There had not been anything substantive written about Ella as a person or about her work. You know, all these Grammys, these hundreds of albums, and no one talked about them. And I happened to meet a man by the name of Val Valentine, who was one of the people who helped start Capitol Records and was the man who controlled the dials on all of Ella's albums. Yeah. And toured with her, controlling her sound when she sang live. And we met and had lunch, and he said, young man, you need to write a book before we all die. Because if you wait to write a book about Ella, we'll all be gone. There'll be nobody to ask any questions. So initially, the book was going to be an authorized biography, authorized by Norman Granz, her manager. And I think about half the book was written. I wanted to speak to Frank Sinatra. There were certain people I wanted to hear about her personal life, but there were certain people I really wanted to hear about the work. Ella was still alive, and I made a promise that I would not publish anything that might embarrass Ella in any way. So it was going to be a good book about her, but I was going to leave out some of the awful stuff. Not things awful that she did, but things awful that happened to her. Well, Frank Sinatra called Norman Granz. They hated each other with vehement,
with a real passion, huh?
Passionate hate.
Oh boy.
So when that call was over, Val called me and said, well, young man, congratulations. You've screwed yourself. We can't support you anymore. Norman is furious. I hope you make a lot of money. Good luck.
Oh boy.
And about 20 minutes later, I get a phone call. Mr. Mark, yes. I am Frank Sinatra on the phone. And Mr. Sinatra says, hey, buddy, I hear I screwed something up for you. I am so sorry. All I wanted to do was make sure that they knew who you were, that you weren't lying, that you were who you said you were. I'm so sorry. And before I could go hamana, he hung up. He sent me 2 autographed pictures to make up for it. So the first book was a good attempt at letting people know who Ella was and talking about the work. The second book was written much after she had died. I no longer felt obligated to not talk about the awful things that happened to her. I was able to be a lot more honest and adult in discussing her personal life, and her career was completely over. So I was able to really give you a good idea of what her last years were like, what she did when she retired. The story of the day she died is worth the price of admission.
Yeah.
And then I was at the Grammy Museum with Patty Austin for Ella's 100th birthday. And as it turns out, although Ella has recorded for 4 record labels, they're all owned or distributed by the same people. And they were there. And I told them about the book. And I said, gee, wouldn't it be great to have some music in the book? So Universal Music allowed me to make 2 new CDs. One is all of her studio work, the best of everything, I thought, put together just the way Ella would have done it. The other CD is the best of her live concerts, again, sequenced just the way Ella would have. How do I know that? Because in the last couple of years of her life, I was the guy choosing her songs.
Wow, really?
Ella, a hallmark of Ella's work is that she didn't go on tour with an act. Oh, these are the 15 songs I'm singing on this tour. And it was the same show. She hated that. It bored her. Ella had a book, about 300 arrangements in it for her trio or quartet. And she would decide that day what she felt like singing. Now, if she had a new album out, of course, she had to do some of the songs from that. But if she did 2 shows a night, they could be 2 completely different shows, depending on what her mood was.
Right.
Well, towards the end of her life, after toes began to get amputated because of diabetes, after a quintuple heart bypass, Ella wasn't paying as much attention, and she began to sing the same songs over and over and over again. I discussed this with Val Valentine, and he said, yeah, it's getting boring. And I said, let me fix that. So I began putting together set lists for her of songs and arrangements that her trio could play that I knew her voice could still sing, that I wasn't pushing her to do things that were now out of her range. And she was very successful with it. So I knew how to program Ella. And that gave us the 2 CDs. And speaking of programming Ella, I have a new Ella program that is debuting very soon. Jeffrey Mark Plays Ella. It'll be on all kinds of podcast platforms. And every week we play Ella's music on a theme with me telling you all the inside stories. The first one is Ella and Cole Porter and how Ella and Cole Porter made Ella into a legend. So that's the first one you're going to hear. We've done about 10 of them. They're in the can. We're just about to release them. So a lot is happening. A lot is happening.
It's amazing some of the things that you get into in the book as well. Of course, never before seen photos and interviews, anecdotes, but really people are saying for the first time the true untold story of Ella, the woman, herself, revealing this unknown side of the famous vocalist. What would be a couple of things that would be the unknown side that some of our viewers might not be aware of that they'll be able to discover in this book? And again,
her entire childhood.
Congratulations on the book too.
Thank you so much. Her entire childhood was smoke and mirrors as far as the public knew. Ella was raped. Ella was tortured. Ella lived on the streets. Ella was a lookout for prostitutes. Ella was a numbers runner. I'm not going to tell stories from the book because I want you to buy it. But those are the kinds of things we discuss. What made Ella so ambitious? What made Ella want to work so hard? Because that woman literally put her life on the line to work as hard as she did. Scream Queen Army is asking about Aretha Franklin. My thoughts don't matter, but let me tell you Ella's thoughts. Ella loved Aretha Franklin. And in the late 1960s and early 1970s, she began to put into her live work, not an imitation of Aretha, but she began to sing songs with a soul feeling to them and began pushing her voice up to scream a little bit like Aretha did when she got all worked up. And Ella was very successful at it. She was a huge fan of Motown music, but especially of Aretha's. Ella was always cognizant of how difficult it was to be, especially a woman in show business.
Yeah.
And was always promoting younger people. She was an enormous fan of the Manhattan Transfer. My friends Cheryl Benteen and Janice Siegel are in the book. They're in the book. Cheryl lives out here. I just had coffee with her a couple of weeks ago. Ella loved them. Ella loved performing with them. It's a shame there wasn't a Manhattan Transfer Ella album made. So Ella promoted other people. She was a good friend to anybody who actually had talent. So was Lucille Ball.
Yeah.
Lucille Ball loved talent and loved to promote talented people.
Absolutely. So for you, I mean, this experience of learning about Ella and telling her story, what was the writing process like for you? When you first put, pen to paper, tell us about that process. Sometimes for some people, it's therapeutic, cathartic. What was that process like for you? When you write about people of the ilk of Ella and others, I would imagine that there is this, I know in documentaries that I've hosted and produced and work that I've done, I place this self-imposed burden on getting it right, on not necessarily just pleasing the recipient or the person that you're, or whatever the thing is that you're celebrating, but really getting it right and telling it in a way that captures the hearts and minds of people, leaves an impact, maybe even inspires people who are going through similar things. They can relate to the subject and the subject matter.
If you keep going, I'm not going to have an answer because you're covering everything.
Yeah.
I try to be a good journalist. I try to tell the truth. I approach each book without an agenda. I heard lots of stories about Lucille Ball, good and bad. I heard lots of stories about Ella, good and bad. I wrote a book about Ethel Merman. I heard tons of stories, good and bad.
Sure.
Well, are any of them true? You have to investigate. There were plenty of people in writing the Lucille Ball book who are very happy to say very nasty things about her. But you know what? Pull the Band-Aid off, scratch the surface. It was baloney. It was people looking to get their name in a book. And they thought if they said something bad, they'd get in the book. Well, nobody didn't. With Ella, it was getting the story right. I knew that what had been written about her in papers and fan magazines was complete nonsense. People thought that Chick Webb, the band leader who discovered her, had adopted her. She was his father. No, nothing like that. Or that they were lovers. Also nothing like that. I had to do the digging. And then once I had seen the films she was in, listened to every recording she ever made, including the ones that weren't released, gone into the vaults of all of her places to look for things that were never released, spoke to everybody she worked with, listened to every album, watched every concert made of her. It was available on video. Then I had to write in my style. Then my voice comes out. So I tell the story. And people seem to like that. Each book I write is different because the topic is different. The one thing that runs through is I like to write about people who are the very, very best at what they do. Lucille Ball is the very, very best situation comedy actor who ever lived. Ella Fitzgerald is the greatest jazz singer who ever lived. Ethel Merman, with an aside to my friend, the late Mary Martin, Ethel Merman is the absolute best at doing musical comedy on Broadway. That's what I like to write about. The Family Affair cookbook was because my friend Kathy Garver wanted a book and I helped her out with that. And the next book coming out after the Lucy book is my own memoir, which is called The Devil Was Born in Brooklyn. And it's my story of child abuse and meeting my soulmate at the age of 13 and what we had to do in 1972 to be together in the days when
different world,
the word homosexual was not appreciated, accepted, or even spoken in our homes. And that 47-year relationship and our children and grandchildren. And I tell all the stories. Merlin Freiberg is asking a wonderful, who'd like to write about now? Here's the problem. I would love to write a really good book about Dinah Shore. Dinah was wonderful to me. The original Ella book, the first one, I wrote while Dinah was fighting cancer. She couldn't be interviewed. She was too ill. But she paid to have all of her video archives opened up to me and paid for their time to let me sit for hours and hours and hours and hours and watch everything Dinah and Ella did together so I could write properly about it. I'm grateful to Dinah Shore, and a wonderful singer, a wonderful television personality. The problem is about 17 of you would buy the book. There's no publisher today who will touch someone like Dinah.
Why do you think that is?
Because the baby boomers are dying off, unfortunately.
Some don't know who she is anymore.
And young people, I'm having people, my grandson is going to be 16 in a few weeks. He knew Lucy. I mean, he couldn't be my kid and not know Lucy. But he has no idea who Ella Fitzgerald is. He never heard of Ethel Merman. He does not know what Family Affair was. He has no idea who Dinah Shore is. Young people today, unlike baby boomers, we were in a different cultural situation. We knew 2 generations back. We knew who Charlie Chaplin was. We knew who Al Jolson or Fanny Bryce. We knew who our grandparents liked. We knew who our parents liked. And then we had our own, the Beatles and all that stuff happening. We knew all of it. Younger people today only know what's happening right now. So unless you're talking about a legend like Lucille Ball or Ella Fitzgerald, Dinah was not a legend. She was a big, big, big star. But it's not going to happen.
It would be the same like Donna Reed and some of those other names
absolutely.
That they wouldn't know who that is.
My dear friend James Gavin, if you haven't had him on the show, you should, has written wonderful books about Lena Horne and Peggy Lee.
Oh, yeah. Tell him to come on. We're connected as well. Yeah, tell him to come on.
We'll talk off camera. But he's not writing a book now about George Michael, because that's what will sell now. It has to be somebody who's 40 knows who they are. If they don't, publishers won't buy it. So it's a different world.
Merlin's in Canada, so she's asking about a book on Celine Dion.
A book should be written. I think she's a marvelous performer. I just don't have the personal interest. I have to have passion for what I write about.
Yeah, I was going to say, how do you have, are you selective as far as have the passion and what you'd like to write about? And I would imagine you also have people that approach you that want you to be involved in the story as well.
I will ghost write books for people. I'm working on one now, as a matter of fact. We'll talk about who it is. If and when the book sells, I'll tell you who it is. No, come on and promote the book for you. But I'm approached. I was approached to do a book about Jack Carter about 20 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
We just couldn't get it off the ground. Jack was a huge comedy legend in his time.
Yeah. Buddy Hackett, that whole group.
Right. Yeah. But there are no great books written about these people.
George Gobel.
Everybody
on Hollywood Squares.
My dear friend Dawn Wells, who we lost this year and broke my heart.
People know from Gilligan's
Dawn
Island.
wrote a book, What Would Marianne Do? And I wrote some of that for her. I'll tell you that now. My name is not on the book, but I wrote some of that for her to help her out. But there's not been a biography written about her, and I don't know that I could sell one. I only write about people about whom I have a passion. If my passion doesn't come through, the book will be boring.
Are there other people that you would love to have the opportunity to write a book about? A Jackie Gleason, a Phyllis Diller, I mean, any of these other folks?
I would love to write a book about Joan Rivers, but Joan wrote so many books of her own.
Yeah.
There's no reason. I mean, other than writing about her death, what else could I possibly add? I adored Steve Allen. He was a wonderful mentor to me, but Steve wrote his own books.
How about books? There's been several, of course, on Johnny Carson.
Yeah.
Has anything been done on Dick Cavett?
Dick Cavett is a wonderful comedy mind and a good interviewer, and I like him, but I don't have the passion to write it.
So you really need to feel it. It's got to be in your veins. Yeah.
I'm not a hack. I've turned down, I don't
And a
know how
passion
many.
doesn't mean a fan necessarily,
No,
right? They don't. Some people may say, "Oh, the passion means that only people he's fans of," but that's not necessarily really how it works, right?
passionate about how they lived their lives, what kind of a person they were. Of course, I need to admire their work. I don't want to write a book blasting somebody. I have no interest in that. Just
Right.
like I was offered and have been offered all kinds of work to write documentaries or to write reality TV shows. And I did do some of that for the money. And the money is good. And I hated myself. I hated myself that I was putting my name on what I thought was crap. So I stopped doing it. A friend of mine who's a producer said, that's the difference between us. I'm rich and you're famous. I'm rich because I'll write anything and produce anything as long as they pay me. You're famous because you only do quality stuff. Well, I'd love to be rich, but I'd rather be famous. I'd rather be known as someone that when you read something of his or you interview Jeffrey Mark, you're going to hear about the best stuff. Maureen Wedipole, I hope I'm saying your name right. I'm dropping the names of the greatest legends of all time. Start writing. So my autobiography, Maureen, will include all of these names. I will tell you everything about everybody I've ever met. The only thing I am not including in my memoir are people in show business with whom I perhaps have had a romance or two that are still alive and their families and friends don't know perhaps that they're bisexual. I'm not dragging anybody out of the closet. That's not my job. But everybody who's passed and certainly learn about my Joel and how do you have a 47-year relationship, not live together, and nobody knows about it except the kids. It's a very, very strange story. I'm happy to tell it. And then all the other people I've met, they're all in there. The book is finished. We're just waiting for the Lucy book to come out first.
Is it too early to write a book on Neil Patrick Harris?
I think Neil should write the book himself. He's a very talented man. See, that's the problem. I have been offered, for instance, a ton of money. I have turned down $500,000 to write a tell-all book about the Lucille Ball Desi Arnaz family, going back to Desi Arnaz's grandfather and on down.
Cuba and
No. Lucy Arnaz, Desi Arnaz Jr., Desi's daughter Hallie, Lucy's children have been wonderful to me.
Yeah.
Why in the world would I take confidences of people who have told me things, knowing I wouldn't publish them, and then stab them in the back and publish them? You know what you need to know about the Ball Arnaz family? They were gifted by God with tremendous talent and ambition, tremendous good looks. They were, for the most part, wonderful to the people who worked for them. They were very demanding that you do your best. If you didn't do your best, you heard about it. If you did your best, you were rewarded for it. Their personal lives, and this is what I say when I do live shows and people ask questions. Go around your neighborhood, knock on doors, and administer a truth serum. And ask your neighbors about their personal lives. And those are the kind of stories you'd hear about Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz, except some of the names will be more famous. There's nothing really about their personal lives that they haven't written about themselves. Both Mr. Arnaz and Miss Ball have written their own autobiographies. Those things that they chose to talk about are interesting. Certainly, Mr. Arnaz's childhood in Cuba, the great wealth and power his family had, is an interesting story. It's already been told. Everything else is tittle-tattle you could hear in anybody's house if they're honest.
New movie coming out too, right?
The movie is going to be brilliant because it's being written and directed by a brilliant, brilliant man. And Lucy Arnaz and Desi Jr. have their fingerprints on it. I promise you, Lucy fans, this is not a recreation of I Love Lucy. This is not a representation of Lucy and Ricky, but you're going to love, and this is basically a week in their lives. And the story is fascinating. It is well cast. You're going to love it. So please suspend any disbelief you have that this isn't going to be wonderful. This is going to be wonderful. I can't wait to see it myself. They're filming it as we speak.
As far as any of your material becoming movies, films, tell us about that.
It's a funny thing, and I'm going to be tremendously honest with you. I've had, a dozen people want to turn my Ella books into films. They've taken out options. They've paid me. I don't know what the problem is, because the story is so compelling. Ella's early life, her romantic life, her illnesses, and what she went through to be Ella are so compelling. I think what we need, and what we haven't had, quite frankly, is we need African American producers and director. All the folks who have come to me were Anglo. And it doesn't mean they're not talented. It doesn't mean they don't understand. But I think Ella's story needs to be driven by people who understand, and people who understand about show business. Because I cannot tell you what it is like to be African American. I can sympathize, I can empathize, but I can't tell you what it's like. I can tell you what it's like to be Jewish and gay and have the Ku Klux Klan call you while you're in college. I can tell you what it's like to get arrested for no reason because you're gay. I can tell you what it's like to be hated for being Jewish. I am not the man, but I'm also not African American. I am appealing to you guys out there. Come get me, because the movie needs to be done. The other movie that I think needs to be done about Ethel Merman, her life has a lot of tragedy in it. It would make a good film, don't get me wrong. But the movie to make is just the story of her marriage to Ernest Borgnine. Just that year and a half of her life and their literal 48-hour marriage is a compelling, compelling story. And again, people have tried to take an option out. For whatever reasons, production companies are not buying it. When they do, I'll be right there to make sure that they're accurate and something you fans will really enjoy.
You mentioned also singing. Tell us a little bit more about the singing career and the material and things of that nature. I think that's fascinating to people, that you have this wonderful singing background as much as you do a comedic background as well, Geoffrey.
Well, I was very, very lucky. Being at Randallstown High School, because it goes back to there. I mean, I always could sing. I was on the stage at 4 years old at the Gerritsen Beach Day Camp in Brooklyn. And they put me on the stage singing. They drew a little mustache on me and put a beret on my head. And I sang Dites-moi from South Pacific. That was the first thing I sang on a stage. So I was always singing. I always could sing. It was Joel Kabik who saw the talent, who taught me about breathing, who taught me how to find my notes. He'd start playing something by Gershwin. I'd sing it, and then he'd play Cole Porter instead, but I had to keep singing Gershwin. He says, if you can do that, no orchestra will throw you off. Because there are a lot of singers out there who are great with a piano, but put a whole band or an orchestra behind them, they get lost. I never get lost because he trained me. And learning to sing so young gave me very good singing habits. And to my amazement, at my age today, I sing better today than I ever have in my entire life.
Why do you think that is? More relaxed,
I'm 32 years clean and sober. That helps a lot.
Sure. Even with the way the voice responds too, and the breathing, all of it. Absolutely. Yeah.
32 years.
And congratulations on that's fantastic.
Thank you. And 34 years off of cigarettes. That helps a lot.
Yes.
I think singing is like any sort of athlete. The more you do it, the better you get. And the more you learn. I never assume I know everything. I'm always open to learning something new about my singing. So breath control, phrasing, I have my own singing style. I started off doing musicals. That's my original training, so to speak, was doing Broadway musical material. Where's Charlie, Little Abner, if anything happened on the way to the Forum, that kind of thing. when I started doing nightclubs, I sang in that style, and I found it didn't work in nightclubs. It wasn't intimate enough. I really had to get clean and sober before I was a hit in nightclubs. I was afraid of the audiences. I sang at them, not to them. Now I sing right to their faces with no caution or nerve or fear. I want to entertain you so badly. Hey, let me entertain you. And the audiences love it. And I've been very, very grateful for it. And mostly now I sing what Michael Feinstein calls the Great American Songbook.
Sure, yeah.
I saw Michael a couple of weeks ago. And jazz. So basically, it's the Great American Songbook with a jazz feeling or straight jazz. It isn't that I can't do Broadway musical material. It's just not very good to do that in nightclubs. And I don't think I want to do a Broadway show anymore. Too much work, too hard to do at my age. Sing something for us. I knew you'd ask that. No, I'm not going to sing something for you unless...
Happy birthday. Anybody got a birthday? Happy birthday to you.
You know what? I would sing for you, but to get music to play, you'd hear my voice, but you wouldn't hear the music very well. And I think I would not come off sounding very well. Otherwise, I'd love to sing for you.
A cappella. If you did sing a song, what would be probably the choice song for you? What would be like that song that would come to mind for you first, Jeffrey?
My favorite song to sing is because of the lyrics and because it was Joel's favorite. Would be There's No Business Like Show Business.
Oh, yeah.
I sang that, gosh, from the time I was in high school. I closed every nightclub act with it. In 1977, I sang it in front of 150,000 people in New York, outdoors, in an outdoor concert.
With a band or orchestra or?
Just a piano and my voice and a microphone and gigantic speakers. I could be heard in New Jersey. Literally heard in New Jersey from Greenwich Village.
There's no business like show business.
But I don't sing it quite as I don't do it like Merman. I have my own way of doing it, almost like a lullaby at first, and then the song builds. But I believe those words.
Yeah.
You know, and so did Joel, and he got me to believe them. Irving Berlin was a genius with those words. And it's my favorite song to sing because of Joel. My favorite other things, I produced a few years ago in the studio a version of my friend Paul Williams' song, Ordinary Fool. It's one of the songs Paul wrote in the 70s that didn't become a big hit. And Jeff Stradling, bless his heart, who does all the music for the Golden Globe Awards, arranged this for me. And we went into the studio with his band and got my dear friend Jack Sheldon to do the jazz trumpet solos on it. And like, you know, how happy can a producer be to have Jack to be in the booth producing the incredible Jack Sheldon and know that I'm going to sing to that. So if I was going to sing something for you, if I could make the music play where you could hear it, I'd sing Ordinary Fool, because it's like it's not somebody else's hit. It's like my hit.
Yeah, right. Exactly. You've made it your own. Have you written music, songwriting as well?
You know, I've written a couple of songs that are in ASCAP. They were novelty songs for nightclub back when, thank you, Jane. Thank you, Maureen. Thank you, Merlin.
Yeah, they're really selling it, huh?
All right. All right. Now, don't blame me if you cannot hear the music. Okay. You're going to.
They just want to hear the voice.
All right. All right. Here we go, folks. Because you asked for it, I never turn people down.
Here's the incomparable Jeffrey Mark.
Okay. So this is we recorded the music for this a few years ago. I never got around to putting my voice on it. So when we do the album in the fall, we're going to use this track. And my friend Paul Williams wrote it. It's Jeff Stradling arrangement. It's like I said, I don't know if you can hear this at all.
Yeah, we can hear it.
Okay.
You got it.
Only a fool like fools before me, I always think with my heart. Only a fool, the same old story. Seems I was born for the part. The lessons that I've learned, the page I should have turned. I shouldn't cry, but I do. Like an ordinary fool when his ordinary dream falls through. How many times have I mistaken good looks and laughs for bad news? How many times have I mistaken love songs and laughs for the blues, when the road I've walked before ends alone at my front door? I shouldn't cry, but I do. Like an ordinary fool when his ordinary dream falls through. Tell him how I feel, Jack. Yeah. Don't tell him everything now, Jack. How many times have I mistaken good looks and laughs for bad news? How many times have I mistaken love songs and laughs for the blues? When the road I've walked before ends alone at my front door, I shouldn't cry, but I do. Like an ordinary fool when his ordinary dream falls through. Like an ordinary fool when his ordinary dream falls through. Ordinary dream falls through. Ordinary dream falls through. There you go, friends and fans.
Very nice. Very nice. Done in that lovely way on the Jim Masters Show Live, Jeffrey Mark. See, you knocked it out of the park, Mark.
Well, I'm glad you could hear the music. Sometimes
They were more interested in your voice than the music. They wanted to hear the voice. Well, lots of nice comments came in too. Yeah.
Wow. Your voice gave some of us senior agers the vapors. Wow. Thank
Not
you.
cool.
Thank you, Jen.
Jane in Sweden. She's watching in Sweden, where it's already, I think, tomorrow. That was super. And claps from Ann in Jacksonville, Florida. Austin Field says, very nice singing. That was fantastic. I love it. From Maureen in Arizona. Merlin in Canada says, thank you. And yeah, the voice could give the vapors. That's a cool. How often do you get a chance to sing? Do you get the chance to sing?
As often as I'm asked. Yeah. I try to sing every week to keep my voice up. Often on these kinds of programs, I'm asked to sing. I'm asked to sing at telethons and charity shows. And of course, when I'm touring, you know, the hat too, I've got 95 sparkly hats. We can thank Rip Taylor for that.
Rip Taylor, huh?
Rip came to see me perform decades ago.
Yeah.
And came backstage and said, Jeffrey, you're brilliant on stage. Is it okay to curse, Jim?
It depends.
Okay, I'll fill it in for you. Jeffrey, you're brilliant on stage, but you dressed like a blanking accountant.
Think of it like Match Game with Gene Rayburn.
Yeah, fill in the blank. And we went out to dinner afterwards, and he convinced me that I needed to find an image that suited my talent. Yeah. And he sent me to a store. It's a very, very long story. I won't bore you with the story, but I got a hat with mirrors on it. And I went on my first cruise as an entertainer, and the audience loved it. And the next cruise, I had 3 hats, and then I had 6 hats. And right now, I believe there are 98 sparkly hats in my closet, so that whenever I entertain you guys, I have my sparkly hat and my sparkles and my jewelry, and you know, I want to look nice and handsome and glamorous for you.
Fantastic. Well, you certainly did that tonight, my friend. What else do you have coming up? What are some other things? Of course, the book and everything else that you've talked about thus far is exciting.
Let's talk through it. I have 3 books coming out next year.
Amazing.
I have my album coming out next year. I have Jeffrey Mark Plays Ella, which will be on once a week on many of the platforms you may find Jim's show. I am guest hosting Gary Allen's show in Florida 2 or 3 more times over the next several weeks while Gary has some ouchies taken care of. I am a big supporter of the Hollywood Museum, and I'm there.
What a great place,
to support them whenever they have an event for the public to enjoy my friends.
And they just reopened too recently.
They just reopened. Yeah. We had a wonderful evening for Ruta Lee there that I was a part of.
The birthday.
And, I bought a new outfit for that, a red sequin jacket for that I looked great in. I have to say so myself. And, you know, my daughter Julia lives near me, and I've got 2 grandsons, Abe and Ben, and they take up my time. I have a son on the East Coast, Matthew, who doesn't speak to any of us, but I love him and I miss him.
Is he in the industry as well? Are your kids in the industry?
Matthew is a journalist. He writes for newspapers. And whatever his personal demons are, I love him, and my door is always open. But right now, he's not talking to his mother or his sister or anybody else. So I'm only the stepfather, you know. I only have so many privileges here. But I see my daughter often and my grandkids as often as she lets me, and they're a big joy for me, and big joy in that they were Joels, and that we got to share that together and be grandpas together and fathers together. And that's a big part of my book and a big part of my private life. And, you know, it's always what's the next thing. Every time I think that I might retire, 17 projects fall on my lap. And instead, I find myself really busy, which was great during COVID because I needed something to keep me really, really busy.
Yeah.
And
how have you remained, and usually I've been asking folks of late who have been coming on this show, how have you remained creative, collaborative, connected, and sane during all of this the last year or so? And people will always say, Jeffrey, the sane part, get back to me on that. I'm still working on that part, Jim.
The sane part, this camera right here, being able to do Zoom calls and Facebook Messenger calls and be in touch with loved ones, because I had no human contact for almost 1.5 years. I have COPD. That's not a secret. Everybody knows that. And, you know, COPD, if you get COVID, you're done.
Yeah.
So
I have a cousin who has that, and it's tough. Yeah.
I didn't even touch the faucets on my sink or light switches for fear that somehow the virus was on them.
Yeah, sure.
And oh, you think I'm cute, Jane? Thank you so much.
You caught that, huh?
Yeah. So I was extraordinarily cautious.
And stayed in pretty much.
Completely.
Deliveries. Did you have things delivered?
Food was delivered. I only ate what
you probably wiped that off too, right? With the packages.
Washed everything.
Are you still, even though, the vaccinations?
No, I am doing, see folks.
Fairfield?
I don't listen to what, forgive me, sir, Jim Master says about medicine. I don't listen to what politicians say about medicine. I listen to my doctors about medicine.
Follow your doctors.
When they told me to stay in and have no contact, and if I had to go out, wear a mask, I wore 2 masks. When they said, come get the inoculations, I got them both. When they said, you can now interact with people who are inoculated, you can now go into stores, you can now eat restaurant food, I did, because my doctors told me to.
Right. So that's what we do. That's what we've done. We still wear masks in certain places too.
I wear masks everywhere.
Post office, stores.
I wear masks everywhere except if I'm eating food, the mask has to come off.
Yeah. Double vaccinated. Still
plus
social distancing.
Yes.
To a degree. Yeah. Very excited to see family we have not seen, like my folks in Florida and elsewhere that we have not seen in 14 months. So we're planning to do that this summer. Birthdays, major birthdays have passed, Mother's Days, all these holidays. So we're good. Everybody's vaccinated. Everybody's good. But now, they're talking variants, and it's an interesting situation we've been dealing with. What have you learned? What have been some teachable moments, and what have you maybe learned about yourself? We've all had this major pause, of course, and a lot of people have reassessed their lives. A lot of people are changing their careers. I think I read something recently, 40% of Americans are leaving the corporate jobs, the jobs that they feel that they've been a slave to, because now they want to do things that really touch others, inspire others, and impact and reflect the essence of who they are. So there's been a lot of self-reflection, introspection during all of this. How about for you, Jeffrey? Anything that's been a teachable moment during all of this for you as well?
I think one would have to be a moron not to be locked up in their own home for 18 months and not have some introspection.
Is this where the comedy comes in? The whole year's been nothing but comedic. Oh my God.
Look, Joel died 2.5 years ago this last January. He died January 17th, 2 years ago. So when COVID hit, I was just starting to come back to my own life from I did everything I needed to do all day long. I worked, I traveled, I did shows like yours. I did your show, as a matter of fact. And then at night, I'd cry all night for him.
Sure.
When the crying stopped, COVID hit. So it was like boom, boom. I learned I'm a lot stronger than I thought I was.
Sure.
I've learned I'm a bigger star than I thought I was. By the way, you guys out there are reacting to me today, and all of the thousands and thousands and thousands of people contacting me.
So it's been a good reminder then, huh?
A good reminder that, I had to accept a long time ago that I'm a celebrity. I'm just now starting to swallow that I'm a star. And I'm being called an icon in show business, which is like blowing me away altogether. But the reason they're saying it is if we want to talk about Milton Berle or Steve Allen with somebody who knew them, it's you. So I've become the conduit to that era of show business. And I'm grateful for that. And that people like my work and they like my singing. And not today particularly, but when I'm funny, they laugh.
Yeah.
So, hey, it's hard. It's hard to make people laugh without an audience. Oh, and one more thing. You asked what I'm doing. My wonderful friend of mine, a comedy writer for Bob Hope, has written a Jack Benny radio show from scratch in the manner of Benny's original writers. And this is being produced. There's going to be a new episode of the Jack Benny show The
Wow.
show has been brilliantly cast with voice actors who sound just like Rochester and Mary Livingston and Dennis Day. And bless their hearts, I have been cast as Jack Benny.
That's incredible.
So that's something you guys can look forward to. I think sometime in July or August. It'll be online. We're going to be doing it live, meaning no stopping.
Right.
But
Right.
they're going to record it and then put it up because of Zoom. It's going to be a Zoom thing. The producers have to play with audio levels and things like that. So once it's mixed properly, it'll be out there for you to enjoy a new Jack Benny show. And I hope I get anywhere near doing Mr. Benny justice because he's an idol of mine.
Oh, absolutely. Ever get a chance to meet him?
No, Jack died. Jack Benny died the year I started doing professional show business. So I was not anywhere near Hollywood yet.
Yeah.
But I've met most of his friends.
What was that opportunity, Jeffrey, that brought you to Hollywood when you were able to pack the bags and say, okay, we're going to leave New York and the East Coast and move west to LA and Hollywood? What was that opportunity, or was there an opportunity yet? Did you create one?
The opportunity was, to be very untransparent and honest with you,
As you've been the entire show, which is a blessing.
Thank you, sir. I needed to get clean and sober.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do it in New York, and I couldn't do it while I was around my parents for various and sundry reasons. I moved to Los Angeles, had about 6 more months of drugging and drinking, got sober, and then what happened to my career? What happened? You know, talent that goes unused turns to depression.
Yes.
And I was still young. I was 30. I'd had a career. I had a very promising career, but I screwed up. And thankfully, show business took me back. It was a climb. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't an easy thing to do, but both getting sober and clean and getting back to my talent, I had to. It's part of who I am. It's in my DNA.
What was the first opportunity that allowed you to come back?
The Ella book.
The Ella, yeah.
I was afraid to perform. I was afraid, to be an actor. It's audition, audition, audition. And for every 10, maybe you book one. I was afraid the rejection that is part and parcel of show business would lead me to drinking and drugging. So I had to decide, okay, what can I do in show business that doesn't have daily rejection? And I thought, well, I write. If I write a book, no one will reject me till I'm finished. I can do the whole project and not get rejected. And that's what I did. I wrote the whole book, a first draft of the book. And I sent it to agents and they snapped it up and it got published within a few months and I was off and running.
Did that surprise you at all?
No. I've seen what hard work and ambition accomplishes. The book came out and I got a lot of press. And then I got a call one day from a man named Oren Keepnews. He said, Jeff, I'm a producer. I said, yes, Mr. Keepnews, I know who you are. He said, Ella sang for Decca Records the first 20 years of her life. And there's nothing on CD because there was a lawsuit. I said, yes, I'm aware. He said, well, they've settled the lawsuit. Decca is going to put out a big boxed 4 CD set. And we needed somebody to choose the songs, sequence them, and write the album notes in a great big booklet. He said, I called 10 people in show business. All 10 of them gave me your name and phone number. And they hired me. And that was the project for which I was nominated for a Grammy. So one thing just keeps leading to another. It isn't that I'm not ambitious. I'm very ambitious. But I don't, it's going to be this way and it's going to be that way. No, I'm going to work hard and be ambitious. And I'm going to see what gets pitched my way and what I can catch. Right. And thankfully, it's almost more than I can handle. And I'm very grateful for that at my age.
I was going to say, at your age, you're a seasoned veteran, my friend. When you were involved in television specifically, tell us about some of the involvement, some of the comedy there. That fascinates me, the television connection.
I got a call one day from a wonderful man named Robert Corsini. and he was producing a documentary about I Love Lucy.
Yeah.
And my Lucy book had come out. He said, "We love your book. We're using your book as the anchor to this. Could you come in and help us?" Okay. And I went in, and Rob and I are still friends. And he said, we're stuck. We can't get anybody to interview with us. We can't get any of the people you talk to talk to us. The family won't work with us. We're at a standstill, and we have an air date, and we don't know what to do. I said, "Well, why don't you talk to Lucy Arnaz?" And he said, "They won't." I said, "Okay, can I use your phone?" This is before cell phones. And I called Lucy. Her assistant was a wonderful man named Keith Dodge, who I adored. I talked to Keith, and Keith put me on with Lucy. And I told her the story, and I could take up a whole, the story is very, very cute, but I'll get to the point. Lucy got me a job being a writer and producer. And because she would work with them if I was the point guy. She would work with them if I was going to be there to make sure it wasn't going to be a bad thing. And the family loved the thing, and lots of people did. It got the highest rating on TLC of any show that had ever been on before. Barbara Streisand called and asked for a copy of it. It did very well for me. And that led to my writing and producing a whole bunch of other stuff for television. Not comedy, but documentaries and reality TV. Some of it was excellent. Some of it got me to meet a whole bunch of people.
Ever do any work with PBS at all?
I have.
Yeah.
I'm seeing thank you, congratulations, thank you, Martha Bolton. Yeah, I know who you mean. Just one thing keeps leading to another. The comedy I wrote was for other comedians, so I ghost wrote jokes or stories for stand-up people to do, and I write all my own material. I don't say anything on a stage that is not mine. I don't use other people's material.
Are you still having opportunities to do stand-up? Do you want to do that?
Well, the last stand-up I did was at the International Comedy Festival. That was in November, right before COVID hit. Yeah. So I've had no opportunities. I have not been in front of a live audience since COVID hit.
Yeah.
The only thing I've done in any kind of a group was that visit to the Hollywood Museum. That was a closed group of 50
and that was
people,
recent. Yeah.
And you had to have your card showing that you had, and they took your temperature, and you had to wear a mask. They were tremendously careful. But perfect. I only turn down opportunities where I'm going to be used or where the product is going to be less than quality. I won't do schlock. To do schlock, I'd rather stay home.
I'm just laughing because that's such a New York word, and I use that word, coming from New York myself. There are just certain words that I think probably even came out of New York and then went everywhere else. Schlock is a good one.
I had to work long and hard to get rid of the Brooklyn accent, because my family all speak like French.
Actually, I would not have assumed Brooklyn, and I don't really have I've never said Long Island. I've never said that. We have to say Long Island.
And I picked up the Mid-Atlantic regional accent in Baltimore, which is a very specific accent. So I had both of those, and then I went to college in Arkansas, and I picked that up. So when I came back to New York, I had to study with Stella Adler to get rid of all of the accents, to speak all of the accents, to speak as accent free as possible. But you can't take Brooklyn out of me. It's part of my DNA. Yeah. And you can't take Joel out of me. He's also part of my DNA. It's an amazing thing. Our grandchildren look as much like me as they look like him.
That's amazing. Is right.
Yeah. How did my DNA get into him? Tell yourself your own dirty joke. That's not how DNA works. But there is a tight bond between our kids and our grandkids and both of us.
I was going to lead me to my question of what are some of the blessings and joys in your life that continue to inspire you to do all this work. I mean, you've been doing it for a good long time. You love it. You're passionate about it. As I mentioned, you've worn hats in a lot of different aspects of these industries that we're in. What are some of those inspirations and blessings and joys for you that push it forward.
I love what I do. I love that you love what I do. I love the doing of it. I am thrilled to entertain people, whether it's by writing something or singing something or telling a joke or being on a show with you. And these wonderful people are enjoying what we're talking about. I just love doing it. I am a Hamasaurus. And as long as I have the health to do it, I will keep doing it.
Health is number one. Yeah.
2024 will be my 50th anniversary in show business.
Wow.
And I will probably do a big party for that.
Yeah.
After that,
keep me posted.
I will, sir. You'll be let out of nothing, believe me. Because I'm crazy about you, Jim.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I never know what's next. I only know that doing the stuff makes me very happy. And as long as people out there want to hear it or read it or watch it or laugh at it, and I have the health to do it, I'll keep doing it. Why not? What am I going to do? Sit here and watch I Love Lucy every day?
Been there, done that multiple times, right?
I have the dialogue. I have the dialogue memorized. I can entire episodes of I Love Lucy in my head and not turn it on.
Which version of the closing theme is your favorite? Because the versions changed over the years. And the last version of the series, not when it was the Lucy Dizzy Comedy Hour, but the last version is just much more bolder and has much more instrumentation than the very first season. From a musical standpoint,
I Love Lucy specifically.
The theme, the closing theme, that sort of same theme, but it morphed over.
Here's the problem, sir. Because your time frame is not the show's time frame. When the show originally aired, the opening and closings were specific to their sponsors.
Philip Morris and others, yeah.
Right. So that da 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 da, the heart, that was made for other places that were not sponsored by these things, and for the eventual network and syndication reruns. The closing credits that you're talking about were originally in white. Now they're in black.
Yes.
Because the background was whatever the product was.
That's right.
But the closing themes that you hear on reruns don't match what was actually played on that particular episode originally. So the fuller orchestrations you're talking about didn't happen in the last season. They were from seasons before that and tacked on there.
Tacked on.
They changed orchestrations ever so slightly, depending upon who the sponsor was. To the sponsors, hey, we want more of that, we want less of that. So the orchestrations were a combination of Marco Rizzo, who was Desi's pianist going all the way back to the 1930s, and Wilbur Hatch.
Wilbur Hatch, yeah.
Wilbur Hatch is given credit as doing all of the music on the show.
You see
that's not true.
Right.
The music, the original music.
Was Desi involved too with it, with the music?
Only in that he wanted it to be authentic to his band's sound. But Marco was in charge of that. Marco wrote some of that in-between music, between scenes things.
Yeah, yes.
Elliot Daniel, who wrote the theme song with Harold Adamson, who wrote the lyrics, also wrote things in between the scenes. Yeah. Wilbur Hatch didn't write any of that stuff.
No.
What he did do was stand there and led the band. Conducting it, because the first few episodes, the band was there live doing it till they figured out they could do it after the fact.
Right.
For the Lucy show, and Here's Lucy, Wilbur Hatch did write the orchestrations until a very talented young African-American pianist joined. And Marl Young was really doing Wilbur's work. And then when Wilbur died, Marl was brought in as the musical director for Here's Lucy. So it's a long answer to your question, but
a good one too.
I had to correct you.
It's information that most people don't know when they watch the reruns of, when you watch the earlier episodes and then you watch, mid-seasons and then you watch the later episodes, you assume what they're doing, which a lot of shows do now. Fortunately, they didn't really shorten, we get the Decades channel and they're re-airing all the I Love Lucy's, and you see what I'm loving is they do the full open, they do the full close, they don't have a voiceover over it, they don't squeeze it, they don't chop it like all the other networks do.
But you're not
get
seeing
rid of it.
The entire episode.
The original, right?
Everything you're seeing is edited to
packaged for syndication
to fit a time slot so that they can put commercials in. So there are in some episodes almost 5 minutes missing. In some episodes, it's almost amazing that you can even figure out what the plot is.
So is it the DVD series that came out where you can see the full thing without the network editing type situation?
And even with that, they edited out the original references to Philip Morris. So even those things are a little edited out. I have copies of all the original shows. They all exist on 16 millimeter, and Lucie Arnaz was lovely and kind and allowed me to have copies of them so I could write about the original airings.
The original, right.
They are very different. I know there was a Blu-ray release of the first season of I Love Lucy with the original openings and the original credits. I don't have a Blu-ray player. I never bought it, and I don't think they got past season 1 on that.
No.
But I think they will. I think someday we're going to see all of I Love Lucy re-released, colorized.
There's another series that favorite of mine, lesser known, of course, than I Love Lucy. Beautifully written, beautifully acted, terrific storyline, an Aaron Spelling production. I've mentioned a couple of times here. I think it was Sony that released only the first 2 to 3 years on DVD. I have them all. I believe Decades, maybe Lifetime did re-airs of it, but you really don't see it re-airing anywhere right now. And they never finished doing the DVD series.
What's the show?
Family with Seda Thompson, James Broderick, Christy McNichol, Gary Frank, Meredith Baxter Burney, Quinn Cummings. And there's uploaded versions that people recorded off Decades and Lifetime onto YouTube that you can see, but it's not clear and blurry, and the sound isn't as pristine. But I wish they would do that. I just wish they would release that.
Yeah.
All.
That man you're talking about owes his whole career to Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz.
Aaron Spelling?
Aaron Spelling, if you watch the unedited episode where the Ricardos and the Mertzes are traveling across the country to go to Hollywood, and they stop in Bend Fork, Tennessee to see Tennessee Ernie Ford.
Yes.
They stop at a gas station for directions. Aaron Spelling is the hick gas station attendant.
That's Aaron Spelling?
That is Aaron Spelling.
Because he wasn't not in the credits, right? Yeah.
And Aaron got his start at Desilu. And
that's right.
Learned how to be a producer there at Desilu because of Mr. Arnaz and because of Quinn Martin.
Did you notice that sometimes, and again, we're talking about the episodes that are syndicated that most people have seen, they would announce the person playing the part of such and such, or the guest star, or the person that played, the cop or whatever. They mention the names, but on some episodes, they wouldn't.
Again, what you're hearing at the end of episodes isn't what was played at the end of episodes.
So they chopped that up. Yeah.
In some cases, they kept the original soundtrack.
Yeah,
in other cases, it's cookie cutter music.
With the CBSI and Lucy Ball and Desi Arnaz will return next week, and the VO at the end. Yeah, on some of them.
On some of them, you're hearing "I Love Lucy" is a Desilu production.
Yes,
but it's the same every time. It's the same voice saying the same thing.
Yes,
where in reality, every week was a little bit different.
Different.
So it's very hard. I know you want information about it. I'm fascinated that you find the closings fascinating.
Yeah.
The problem is they aren't the real endings. So you're seeing chopped up stuff that was put together.
Stuff that they put together. Yeah, because it seemed when you see it in the syndication aspect, it's as if they took, not now knowing that's a whole other spin for, I think, a lot of the viewers too. That's fascinating information, Jeffrey. But when you watch it, if you watch episode 1 all the way to the very end, what they've done with that music, the orchestrations, like you say, it seems like it gets more and more modernized, and it's just, by the time the series ends, the instrumentation is powerful, and it's just like it's just like this big thing.
It's the opposite. It was more powerful in the beginning and got less lightened up as time went on, because around 1955 Desi disbanded the Desi Arnaz Orchestra.
Yeah, that's right.
And then they brought in studio musicians to do whatever music they had to do, plus Marco Rizzo and a couple of people who had worked with Desi. So the musicians became different after a while. And there did come a point where Wilbur Hatch was doing more of the work. Well, when you change people, it's a change of sound. They weren't using as many musicians. So it had a lighter sound because there weren't, where before maybe there were 4 saxes, maybe now there's 2 or only 1.
Yeah. So when we're watching the reruns and we hear the lighter version being used for the earlier episodes and that more bolder version at the end, it's actually the reverse?
Yes, sir.
Wow. Now that I never knew. I thought that what they did was, again, they were adding more instruments. They were modernizing it. They were making it more bolder.
From the beginning, it was the full Desi Arnaz.
That whole, wow. Right. That I didn't know. That is fascinating. That is fascinating. I wonder why they did that switch for the syndication. Do you think?
Money. It was more expensive to do it that way. And after a while, they realized, Desi was performing less and less. Ricky Ricardo was singing less and less on the show.
Yes, and the later episodes, yes.
So after they go to Hollywood, you never really see the whole Ricky Ricardo orchestra anymore.
No.
All right. So
then they moved to Connecticut, and
less musicians, lighter orchestrations, because it's less money. Desi kept his orchestra in money consistently until he decided that he no longer wanted to be in front of a band. He wasn't going to go out there and do Las Vegas. He didn't want to do that. He wanted to be a producer and to be Ricky Ricardo. Yeah. So just financially, it was not necessary anymore
to do that. Right. Exactly. Yeah. He produced Mothers-in-Law, right, with Eve Arden and Kay Ballard.
Well, that was many years later.
Yeah.
And I write about that in my Lucy book too, because the Mothers-in-Law is almost like a Lucy show. You keep waiting for Lucy to walk in from the kitchen any minute. So I write about it. I write about it a lot. About it.
Very similar.
And I talked to Kay Ballard, who was a dear friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
It's a funny, funny, not. Kay Ballard and I were dear friends. Carol Channing and I were friends. A wonderful producer named Larry Germain and I were dear friends. Those 3 people and my Joel Kabick all died within 8 days of each other.
Yeah.
It was hard times for me emotionally.
Oh, I gotta imagine. Yeah. Yeah.
But I got through it.
I was just about, you're intuitive. You're reading my mind. I was just about to say, how did you? And I ask that because there could be somebody listening right now to your story, knowing all of this, learning about all this, and saying, how the heck did Jeffrey get through this? How is he getting through it? What would you say to somebody who might be going through it themselves right now?
If you're dealing with loss of a loved one or the breakup of a relationship, part of my ability to deal is I am a very spiritual person. I'm not a religious person, but I'm very, very, I have deep, deep beliefs in whatever it is I believe in, which is not necessarily what you believe in, but whatever you believe in it deeply. So when things get bad, you have something to lean on.
Call upon it. Yeah.
When Joel died, I got 1,100 Facebook messages from fans and friends. You guys may think that reaching out to a celebrity means nothing. Let me tell you something. Maybe there are some celebrities out there who don't read their fan mail. I read everything sent to me and I respond to it.
You know who did that too? Florence Henderson told me that she did that too.
Well, I'm so blessed to be a celebrity. Why would I not show my appreciation? Because without you guys there, I'm empty here.
None of it happens, right?
Exactly. I'm just looking at this microphone and talking to myself without you guys out there.
That's right.
And Lucy Arnaz gave me wonderful advice about loss. She said, Jeffrey, it's your book. You get to write this story any way you want. She said, you can spend the rest of your life mourning Joel, or you can spend the rest of your life celebrating him. Your choice. Yeah, I'd rather celebrate him. There was so much to celebrate. I met the love of my life when I was 13. I got a career at 15. I'm the luckiest son of a gun on the planet. How can I not celebrate that?
And still in it and still doing it. Yeah.
The minute I take myself out of being a victim of anything.
Yeah.
The minute I plug into, where are you? Plug into gratitude. You plug into gratitude, you can get through anything.
That's huge.
Because
gratitude.
No matter what is going on in your life, there is always something to be grateful for. And since we're talking so heavy, hey, boys and girls, if you have a problem with alcohol and drugs, I am here to tell you, you do not have to take another drink. You do not have to take another drug. There is help out there. Lots and lots of help out there by loving people who would like to help you have better lives. So reach out and ask for help. I promise if I can do it, anybody can do it.
Yeah, that's, do you do any speaking on that? Do you do any lectures or presentations on that?
I do it from time to time. There was a time in the late 90s, early 2000s, when there was a cable channel called the Recovery Network.
Yes, right.
And they brought me in, they did a special on me. And then they had me hosting movies about recovery. And eventually, you're watching the Recovery Network was me. So I get stopped on the street. Hey, you're the recovery guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I never took a penny for anything I did for them. And I never specifically spoke about any particular 12-step program or anybody who was in it.
That's beautiful.
Jen Barry, I keep me Daddy David alive in me heart. Sunday is a hard one for me. Sunday's a hard one for me too. I hated my father. Father's Day was always empty. Now Father's Day is about being a father. I cannot tell you how much I wish Joel was here to celebrate it with me. My daughter works on Sunday, so we're going out to dinner as a family Saturday night. My daughter, myself, my grandchildren. The people we love, the people who help make us, whether they're blood relatives or heart relatives, they're in our DNA. And as long as we continue to love them and remember them, they are still alive.
That's right.
So good work, Jen. Good work.
Good stuff. Good stuff. You're loving the ride. You're loving it, Jeffrey, huh? You're loving the ride.
Because, I've lost in the last 20 years, and I'm not joking, 50, 60 friends to death. I used to have a social life. Like I was booked up 3 months in advance. God bless.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's lots of loss.
But life, has a way of continuing.
Let me tell you something. This is how I look at it. Look how blessed I am to have known all these people, to have been accepted by all these people. And to tell you the honest truth, I'd rather be the one doing the mourning than being the one being mourned for. So as long as I'm on this side of the ground, I say, thank you, God. And how lucky am I to have mourned all these wonderful, wonderful, wonderful people.
Absolutely. Absolutely, my friend. Beautifully said. And this was a full circle episode, Jeffrey Mark. We covered a lot of amazing things, and I think people really got an opportunity, which is what I like to do in this conversational, warm style. We don't rush people through, and I don't call these interviews. I call these conversations because that's the kind of person that I am. I think that you are blessed, and I think that you have touched a lot of people. You continue to, and your story is amazing, and you're very open and authentic, which in Hollywood, some might say could be a rare quality. And it's a beautiful thing. And it's been a blessing having you with us. And I hope the show met whatever expectations you had and you enjoyed the time with me, my friend.
The only expectation I had was to entertain people today and to have a good time with you. And I think these people were entertained, and I've had a wonderful, so I don't applaud, I snap. Snap, 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 snap for Jim, for being a wonderful host who asked great questions and gave me the space to be authentic. So part of that's on you.
I appreciate that, my friend. If folks want to get now the product, because they're talking about it, where can they go? Where can they find?
You know what? If you want autographed copies of these things, contact me on Facebook. You've seen my name there. My Facebook page is easy to find. Private message me and I'll sell you anything you want. I'll autograph it. And that way I get to keep the money and you get an autographed copy.
That's fantastic. I like that idea. That's a great shot of you there too. That's a cool hat. What's on there? Rhinestones or something?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was about 30 pounds heavier there and I had longer hair. I got yelled at that I was too old to wear my hair so long. So I got my hair cut, like you see it, and back to my original orange-red color. I was born a strawberry blonde, and I think I'm going to remain a strawberry blonde. I like it.
You don't use henna like Lucy did, do you?
Lucille Ball did not use henna either. I know the recipe for her hair. There was a little henna in it, but there were 17 other chemicals in it besides henna. Oh, Jen Barry, we can have Jeffrey Mark back soon. Jen, I will come back as often as Jim will have me. So yes, when Jim asks, I'm here. Well, and next time I'll warm up my voice so that I don't sing without being warmed up. But
well, definitely spread the word about our series, our entertainment lifestyle talk show series, my friend. We would love that. And we wish you continued success. And again, folks can find the books, the material online, of course. I wish you continued success with all the cool things that are coming up. Definitely keep me posted. Let's stay connected. And I hope we get a chance to break bread, either if I'm on a TV shoot on the West Coast or if you're back East visiting, certainly let me know. And I toast you once again, Jeffrey Mark on the Jim Masters Show Live.
And Jim Masters and all of our friends out there, all of our
loveties. The loveties.
And send me the link for this show and I'll put it on my Facebook page.
You got it. That YouTube link, we will do that. And this was epic. We chatted for almost 2 hours.
I know. Friends and fans, thanks for sticking with us all this time. I've had a ball. I hope you guys have too.
We sure have. They have. They're real faithful loveties. They're with us day in and day out, 7 days a week. And it's amazing from literally all around the world. And it's really beautiful. And Merlin, cheers. And Maureen in Arizona. Wow. You're a magnificent human, Jeffrey. Thank you for bearing your soul to us. And,
from my heart, everybody, God bless and have a happy, whatever you're doing next.
Happy, healthy, and enjoy life. It's precious, it's short, and it's valuable, and celebrate it. And Sherry Larson, thank you for a wonderful 2 hours. Our pleasure, Sherry. Jeffrey, as I say to all of the guests on the Jim Masters Show Live, now go stretch those legs.
First, I'm going to go to the bathroom after 2 hours, and then I'll stretch my legs.
Yeah, a lot of coffee in that cup. And that was a bottomless cup.
I have a whole pitcher here full of it. Yes.
You're ready to go. You know how it works. All right, my friend.
For all these years, I certainly hope so.
That's it. You take care. Thanks for joining us, sharing these great stories, sharing your life and authenticity. And again, best of health, continued success, and we'll have you back soon as well. Keep the porch light on for you, Jeffrey.
All right, guys.
Take care. Bye-bye now. Jeffrey Mark on the Jim Masters Show Live. Yes, he certainly made his mark and continues to in the industry, and a very unpredictable, difficult industry, but one that he loves, and I do as well in my various ways, shapes, and forms. And again, what's cool about our show is you get a chance to learn a little bit more behind the scenes and also about the person. You learn more about me, your host, more about probably yourselves as well, and the guests we have on. And sometimes we do have shows where we don't have a guest because it's you and I. We call those the host Lovity Chat shows. And I know you love those shows, and we're going to be doing some more of those. We're also going to be taking you on the road during the summertime as well. Some of our on-location episodes of JMS Live are coming up. And we're going to be doing some pop-up surprise episodes too, which I know you guys love when I do those. We just pop up unannounced, boom, and here we are. And all of you just flood right in, which I think is beautiful. Jeffrey is amazing and a legend in the industry. He's touched music and film and stage and television and everything in between. And again, there's the book, one of many that he is responsible for. And again, I love this as well. You can check it all out online. And again, this is the other one we were talking about too. But as he mentioned, there's another one that's coming out, which is really, really something special. Hey, I want to let you know that we've got the Aussie crooner, wonderful singer and entertainer, Marty Thompson is with us live tomorrow from Nashville. Then we have on Saturday, live from France, we have the great grand nephew of legendary French actor Maurice Chevalier. We have Alexis Chevalier. He and I were just chatting again today. He's all excited. He's going to be here. He's an actor himself, brilliant actor, lived here in the States. He's in France right now. And again, the great grandnephew of Maurice Chevalier. He's going to be with us live at a special early time, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, this Saturday on the Jim Masters Show Live. Judy Norton is joining us. Yes, brilliant actress and entertainer and more. You remember her from the Waltons. Monday, she's our special guest. Tuesday, Marion Ross, the one and only brilliant actor and performer. You know her, of course, as Mrs. Cunningham on the legendary sitcom, The Wonderful Happy Days. And she's going to be here with her son, Jim, as well, who's a brilliant impressionist and actor himself. You hear his voice in so many different productions, including he's made a wonderful career in the video game industry as well. We thank Jeffrey Mark for joining us on the show. He was a delight. And of course, we thank all of you. We always say, we have a little ritual we do here. Don't forget to smile. Don't forget to share the lovity. Find your Zen place. Mine is with loving family and friends first, then cycling, tennis. I'm a cyclist. I love tennis, music and writing and so much more, gardening, and the ocean. You got to drag me out of the ocean, swimming, surfing, boogie boarding, sailing it, walking it. We were just walking it today. I can't wait to dive in soon. It's still a little chilly, but that is the South Shore of Long Island, New York. That's the Atlantic Ocean you're looking at there. Was always raised near the water, and we're near the water here. And of course, my work in television, radio, stage, and film. On air, on camera, behind the scenes is another Zen place for me. Find your Zen place, folks, and live it to its fullest, whatever that may be. And as I say, everybody's welcome to the Jim Masters Show Live. Doesn't matter your religious views, political views, gender, eye color, height, weight, zip code, income. Doesn't matter here. You're all welcome. You're all part of the lovely family here on the show. You're very welcome, Sherry. We appreciate that. And Juanita watching in South Africa, and Jane in Sweden says, bye, Jeffrey. And Jen goes, I like him. Real nice guy. Of course, we have only real nice people on our show. Rosalind Kine was with us last night. That was a terrific episode. We even sang together a little bit. This was a great show. Thank you very much. And Mary Bishop, congratulations. I think it was your granddaughter graduated from school. Congratulations from all of the your lovely family here. You're going to watch this in the archives. You're going to love it. This episode and all the episodes, don't be shocked if I show up at your door so I can get out of this crazy heat. Was it like 122 degrees in Arizona there? And go play in the great Atlantic Ocean. Yes, the Atlantic Ocean awaits for you, Maureen. Again, congratulations to Mary Bishop. I believe is it your granddaughter is moving on in school there. And I think it's really, really cool. Really, really nice. So congratulations. Yes, you can see all the episodes, including this episode with our special guest, Jeffrey Mark, 24/7, 365 on our YouTube channel. Some 400 episodes with guests from Broadway, Hollywood, television, film, music, inspiration, comedy, sports, culinary arts, inspiration, authors, and so many episodes, holiday-themed episodes, on-location episodes, host chat, levity episodes, pop-up shows. We've done it all here. This show is an entertainment lifestyle talk show series where every episode is something different. It's not the same old, same old. We don't just chat with guests and that's it. We like to charge it up and spice it up all the time. You guys are the best. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow. We're back again with the incredible Marty Thompson. He's also a Levity viewer. You see him post often during our show. He's all excited. We have all kinds of music and cool things coming for you tomorrow. Till then, this is your host, Jim Masters, thanking you for your time this time. Till next time, it's a blessing to have you here. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. All the episodes are there. Click the notification bell so you don't miss any of our live episodes, our pop-up shows, and other surprises. And we have a lot of other things on Jim Masters TV, not just the Jim Masters Show Live series. We've got the Masters Mantras, verbal and visual inspirational series, and lots more that we're adding to the Jim Masters TV channel on YouTube. And tell all your friends about our show. Spread the word. If you love this series, don't keep it to yourself. Let everybody around the world know about it and about the YouTube channel as well. All right, gang. Love you all. We'll see you tomorrow right here. Same time, same spot on the Jim Masters Show Live. If you're not here tomorrow, we'll catch you on the next one. And if you missed anything on this episode, the archives are there for you as well. Have a good night. Be well, okay? Take care. See you on the next one on the Jim Masters Show Live. Good night.